So now we're going to have a question and answer session for the next 20 minutes or so. Do I have the first question, please?
Question there.
Just to the last speaker. Question to last speaker. It was just about town wardens. What's happening about the roundabout, the bottom of Flash Lane, and that has to do with growing things as well. But I mean, can they help with that mess? Sort of the other roundabout. I mean,
do you mean where the chevrons?
Yes.
That's the replacement of the chevrons is really Cheshire East Highway's responsibility. Yes, I'm following it up. Yes, I keep chasing it. But I think that's probably perhaps a bit of a job too far for the town wardens. Yes. I think within the town, the streets sort of road signs, the sort of 30 mile an hour signs type thing. I think that would well be within their remit. But I think asking them to work on the roundabout
Can I just ask, are these town wardens, are they actually full-time, part-time?
No, there are two of them that job share. So between the two of them, I think they probably cover about 35 hours a week. I'm looking at David. Yeah. So it's almost one full-time person, but they're actually two of them. So occasionally they double up if the two of them are needed.
Can I just add that we're getting some flashing yellow lights on the van now, so maybe we could do something a bit more, it's, instead of Christmas lights, but it is going to look quite good.
It is good.
Yeah, on the wardens, one lady was outside the town hall. She just wanted some leaves clearing. And just came to say, would it be possible for somebody to clear the leaves? Could the wardens do that? But Cheshire East have this system, don't they, where you report with a button, and then you wait for ages to see what happens. Could Bollington develop a system for the wardens where instead of writing emails and this, that, and the other, you could actually in some way, shape or form categorise the kinds of lower level jobs that they could help out with, and then they could have a waiting list of what they'd be working on.
I think one of the plans for I'm trying to think. One of the items that came up in the budget for the next year, so it starts on the 1st of April, is to perhaps overhaul the town council's website. So I think it would have to be quite simple interaction, but potentially sort of scaled down version, because I think the Cheshire's one is quite a complicated, multi-layered way of reporting, but potentially it's something that we could definitely look at.
And on flooding, John? Floods, Mark?
No, it's not.
Yeah, I know you're doing a big resilience plan, but obviously flooding is the one that's priorities.
Yeah, of course.
And I know it's the end of the financial year and we've got lots of gully empties around now, but I would hope as part of your plan there will be a regular planned preventative maintenance gully opening, because we all know as we walk around Bollington, all of the silted up and blocked up drains, the water's just running through it and it's causing more problems.
Yeah.
So is that PPM going to feature in your plan?
It will do, because I noticed it's certainly encouraged while we've had the gullies cleared. I think it was earlier in the year, they've filled up again and they've been cleared again. So I haven't got it in there now, I've thought about it, but it's certainly a good thing because it's flood prevention, so it's a thing I'll put in there, absolutely. So thank you for the idea, thank you.
Could I just haven't the gully empties done a fantastic job there?
Yeah, they have,
They've visited us every day, they've gone to other areas where we said, no, you've not been on their list, and they've gone to do us well. They've moved cars, and I've been so impressed with them, to be honest.
Can I say, talk about a gully empty? One of the biggest problems that they've had is that the vehicles come out, so they give put signs up on the roads and say, don't park here because we're gully emptying. And everybody just ignores them and they park on the gullies and they come along and they can't empty the gullies because there's a car blocking the way. And because they're not parked illegally, they can't move them. So I think at one point there were a few hundred gullies in Bollington which they couldn't empty, although they had the vehicles here to empty them, and so they were just hanging around, but they could be somewhere else or actually doing it here. So we can all help, residents can all help by actually, when these signs come out. I mean, in fact, earlier today I think there were bollards on the roads down on the main road, and they were by the gullies to stop people parking there. And I think on the main road they actually did. But I think we can all help by not parking or getting other people to move, neighbours to move or something, when that time comes.
And then, sorry, Mike, you got the mic. Go on.
A couple of minor ones for the wardens. We suffer from potholes around the town. Okay, I report quite a number, and they do get done. But would it not be possible for the wardens to just keep an eye out and make a note and report them formally to Cheshire East to get something done? Because Cheshire East don't seem to look at all. You have to report them. The second one is on the litter bins. Years ago we had the emblem of White Nancy put on them, and a number of them have fallen off and need replacing. Could the wardens go around and tidy that up, please?
David, do you want to take that?
Yeah, we can certainly look at that. I mean, that's the benefit of you getting your feedback today. We will look at all these things, and we've recorded all levels, and all members of government, and I won't be able to get away with not addressing it now. So you can assure that we will be on that case.
And the question, I think.
Thanks. It was on communication. I have seen loads more social media stuff that have been shared, I can see it, and I think that's been brilliant. I think, Amanda, did you mention that the website's getting looked at because it's really not mobile friendly still? It's quite hard to navigate if that can be looked at and made easier for the user.
Thank you. David, down here at the front, please.
Down here. John, can I have a word on allotments in relation to Coop Road?
Yes.
It's a funny patch there, isn't it, of land?
Yes, it is.
It's never been very clear what it was going to be used for.
Yeah.
But in relation to allotments, it does look a sort of tempting size. But I would think your first port of call would definitely need to be the residents in Coop Road, because the problem often is with allotments that people do tend to drive to them rather than cycling or whatever. And in other words, you would be very unpopular if you caused a parking problem in Coop Road. I just thought I'd mention that.
That's a very good point.
You know, the residents would certainly have a view on whether they would like allotments there or not.
Do you have a preferred site?
No, I don't
Of the three?
really. No. But that one I could immediately see would be problematic for the reasons I've outlined.
Yeah.
The other ones are definitely possible,
Yeah.
the other two, and could definitely be explored. But I think Coop Road will
Okay.
not work properly.
Thank you. Yes.
Just to add to that, before you answer that, John, I think there's a meeting of several culverts there as well, isn't it? At Coop, that.
Yeah, there's a raised side to the site as you walk in from Coop Road on the left, I walk around there, and obviously there's a footpath through, and it's very popular with a bit of green open space in the middle of the estate. So there are a few reasons why that's probably not the ideal place. But all the feedback that we get today will all be taken into account when we're making a decision on it.
John, on the allotment side, there's about 12 across from Lower House Mill.
Yes.
My wife's got one of them. Chris Heathcliff owns those. I think there's 3 vacant at the moment. So anybody that wants one, just pop up to see Chris and see if they're still vacant.
We can put that up on the website, I'm sure.
Right.
It's a private allotment, and
happy to support that.
That's a very typical, a very good example. There are some people who have some private land who might want to make it available for allotments. So should you know anybody who's got a spare acre, then allotments, or indeed a community garden, there are a lot of people who are interested in growing food. That would be really helpful.
Gentleman in the back there.
I just wanted really to add support to the idea of the gate at the co-op. I must make a confession that I once tried to leap over that wall. In the process, which slowed me down, I also noticed that there's a nursery a bit further up, but if you've got a pram or a wheelchair coming from that direction, and you imagine where you have to go to get to the co-op, it's really quite a long way around, and I think anything that can make that entrance to the co-op both more inclusive and easier for pedestrians would fulfill a number of objectives. So it's just an encouragement really to think more on that.
Yeah, that's very useful. We've had two responses tonight, one very firmly in favour and one very firmly against. So the firmly against was if we do open up the wall, there's a likelihood that cars will park on the double yellow lines and could cause real difficulties. And ones firmly for are, yes, we need to encourage people to access the co-op on foot and by making them walk around the distance around the car park.
I think the first one could be dealt with by some short, sharp enforcement of the law.
It happens though. You do see parking in some dreadful places around the co-op. People actually in the entrance to the car park, and it's awful. But yeah, it's all been taken on board, all recorded. Yeah, thank you.
John, can I just mention that what we wanted a crossing there. We were trying to get a crossing there, and part of the deal for a crossing there was to open that up, because the zigzag lines on the crossing will prevent anybody parking there. Yeah. And we were scuppered in that, to be honest. And there's a bit of a saga, I'm not going into it now, but it's all about the pedestrian and vehicle conflict ratio which Cheshire used, and it became very awkward. But we haven't given up.
We even got to the point where we were looking at making a contribution towards the cost of the crossing as a town council, which would have been an expense, a major expense for the precept payers, and quite unusual. But you know, again, that wasn't taken on board, was it, by Cheshire at the time? I don't remember right.
No, the crossing's cost £65,000. That seems a lot, doesn't it? But there you go.
Possibly really end it for a while.
It was just a quick one on the lights on the roadway. Who's going to take up responsibility of maintenance and the liability of them?
When we went through this the first time, Cheshire East were very much in favour of this. If we go ahead with this again, I think Cheshire East will pick that up, because they will see that as a proof of principle to roll out through the rest of Cheshire East itself. One reason why I need to go to Sustrans, because we get the funding from Sustrans. There's some funding for Sustrans, then we're on our way. But again, the major part of this is to pressurise to put that to the crossing across Grimshaw Lane, because then that does make it a safe walking route, and that's what we must have.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Roland, while you're there, may I just ask a question about the plans for the middle lane? Because it is a fantastic route between Bollington and Maxwell, there's absolutely no doubt, and it's safe for walkers and cyclists. But if use is increased, and this is someone who's not a cyclist but is a walker, and cyclists and walkers use it, is there any chance that somehow they could be separated along it? Because there's no doubt about it, cyclists, bless them, don't seem to have taken on board the use of a bell these days? I don't know anyone.
I've got a bell.
But I think it's not something they do. And there could be conflict, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some significant problems. I mean, the zigzag going up from the old railway track, and then the diversion around the back of the industrial estate isn't safe for pedestrians, let alone cyclists and pedestrians. So that would be a real problem. If we did that, if we managed to get a activity trail, we would have to separate them out. Okay. Absolutely. The very best we could hope for, I suspect, would be laning. Laning, as you and I know, doesn't really work.
Well, I think you need to widen it. It's expensive too.
Yes, well, widening it, particularly around the back of the trading estate, isn't going to work, unfortunately. There are some really intractable problems there, but they're problems you overcome.
The lighting, I think, is crucial. But,
yeah.
But basically, if it's a route for school kids, you need lighting.
Absolutely. Okay. John.
Yeah, for Amanda and Sarah, if we could link, there's 600 businesses in Bollington, wow, that's a lot of businesses. If we could link some of their fundraising activity to raise money for the council to do what I would call the extras on top, that would be a great combination. So you've got all the feedback from the businesses, could that link together? And in Macclesfield, I know the community, they're doing things like putting the white lines around the street signs. So working with wardens, so you've got volunteers doing that, and it's funded, not through the rates, because what's the budget? 300,000 plus 100,000 reserves. If we could generate some extra money, we could do these extras in Bollington. That's surely got to be in the interest of the businesses as well, in terms of how it looks, and it's in the interest of the residents too. Could we link it? I don't know.
Maybe you could get businesses to sponsor some of your flowers.
Good idea. Do we have any more questions?
Can I ask a question?
No.
I can, because I know on behalf of everybody, if I could be so bold, is this a good format for this evening? Because when members suggested to me that we have 12 presentations and everybody's going to keep to time, I thought, I'm on my diet, it's not going to work, but it has worked. Well, it's worked for me, has it worked for you? That's the question. So, thanks for keeping to time.
Is it obviously moving to the digital age and stuff, is it worth videoing snippets of this and getting that out on social media and on the website to show more people, because it is generally the same faces for the last 10 years.
And we love them! They turn up every year!
We do need more,
We do. We said, well, to be fair, we often have more, but, these are the
issue, but let's give them the good news stories as well. Let's get them to...
Yeah, absolutely. Good idea.
Yeah. Is that yes or
yes?
I just think obviously without necessarily video this evening, but we do have some sound snippets from some key elements, and we've obviously got some photographs. I'm sure it's within the bounds of our members and staff to produce something.
Yeah, we've also got a new member of staff starting, and one of the jobs of that part-timer will be to enhance our social media responses and interaction.
We could record individual snippets of this as sort of 20 seconds.
Sorry, is that what you meant?
David. I think if there are no more questions, Roland would like to say some words.
Well, thank you all for coming tonight. I hope you're going to go away seeing that actually you've got a council that are doing things, that are thinking of the future. This is just the tip of the iceberg, by the way. There's many other things that we could have spoken about, and over the next few months there are going to be things that will probably set a lot of eyes raised and quite a big intensive breath when you see what we're getting up to. I haven't even talked about those streets yet, and that's on my agenda. Or Play Day 2021, but that's also on my agenda, and there's lots more besides. Thank you all for coming. A safe journey home, and please spread the word. We're not sitting around doing nothing. Thank you all very much. Good night. I'd also, it's silly of me, I would like first of all to thank all the speakers. I would like to thank David for all the work he's put in. And although they're hiding away, and they're going, oh no, not again, I'd like to thank Emma and Andrea for dealing with the refreshments tonight.